I'm Gail Rebhan. This is my public art project, A Cultural History of My Neighborhood, which is about the Tenelytown neighborhood in Washington, D.C., which is the second oldest neighborhood in the city. This project relates to my earlier autobiographical work, which places mothering and aging in a social context. Common themes include an interest in the depiction of time and an examination of the impact of cultural values on individuals and places. These photo collages are not a nostalgic look back at simpler times. Rather, I tell an often untold story of daily life, highlighting changing societal values at the grassroots and personal levels. Using layers of various opacities, I convey a fluid sense of time and place. The impact of the past on the present is palpable. I wanted this work to be a public art project because I wanted to put the art out in the neighborhood and to make the cultural history of this neighborhood well known or more well known to people who live or work in the neighborhood. I wanted it for people to see this outside of an art context and just be able to see the neighborhood at the actual site. I wanted to put it up at this site because it's a very prominent location in Tenelytown. It's 1 block away from the metro. There's a lot of traffic, a lot of people see the site. This piece is about the 4600 block of 41st Street, which is right across the street. And in this piece I combined a 1949 historical photograph with a photograph that I took in 2009. This is what's currently here, Dancing Crab with this red awning. And this is the old photograph that had been Empire Rug Cleaners in 1949. And it was a vacant building in 2009. Photographs quickly become historical documents, which is evidence from this piece. The photograph that I took 2 years ago already looks very different because you see there's new construction going on. And the building that was a vacant building in the photograph is now a sports bar. Some people have thought that I photoshopped this in, but this is actually in the scene and it still exists. And newspaper articles also surround the photograph. And this picture is about counterfeiting a 50-cent coin, and then a zoning fight about the radio antenna, which you see there are lots of radio antennas in the scene. I have also text here about the type of businesses that were on the block. And at one point there were 2 shoe repairs on the block. There were laundries on the block, and in 1943 it was listed as a colored laundry and a white laundry. People forget that Washington was a segregated city, a southern segregated city, because Washington doesn't feel like a southern town anymore. This piece is the actual building itself. So I've combined a photograph from the 1970s with a picture that I took in 2011. In the 50s, it was a People's Hardware, which was a chain store. And then in the 70s to early 90s, it was a movie theater. In the 90s, it became Babe's Billiard, and now it has been vacant since 2004. This is the old photograph with the bay windows, and then this is the new part with the flatter windows when it was Babe's Billiard. And these windows actually have the photo collages that we've been talking about in them. This image is about a site that's a couple blocks away, which was the Washington Home for Foundlings. It was an orphanage. And currently it is Friendship Terrace Retirement Community. So I think that's really interesting and tells you a lot about who needs assistance, going from orphans to older people. I combined a 1952 photograph with the photograph that I took. One thing I find very interesting is how the bars on the crib are very similar to the bars on the balcony, and I positioned it so that viewers could make that connection. Also, Shirley Temple, when she was a child star, did a fundraiser for the Washington Homes and Fountains. This is about a major intersection in Tenelytown, Wisconsin Avenue and Albemarle Street. And it's about the development of the Sears store in the 40s. The image is surrounded by newspaper clippings because I want to show you how people's attitude towards the Sears store has changed over time. So in '93, it was nominated for historical landmark status, whereas in the 1940s, when it was going to be constructed, a lot of people did not want it constructed because they felt that it would bring too much traffic to the neighborhood, drive out small businesses, and too close to an elementary school. Then in the 90s, when the Sears stores closed, it became a site that people wanted to preserve as an example of Art Deco. And it was redeveloped into a Best Buy with condominiums in the background. So right here in the picture, you can see how I combined the two images. You can see how it was a Sears store, and it was at Christmas time. There was a Christmas tree above there. And now it's a Best Buy, and they've used the same windows. The windows were preserved. And you can also see here how the old cars and the new cars. And then this is a condominiums in the background. And even though it's a color photograph, the condominiums are silvery in color. So the silver color of the condominiums kind of blends in with the old black and white photograph.
Smaller versions were exhibited at the nearby American University Museum. These pieces examine changing American moral values as represented by modifications to the neighborhood. For example, several pieces concern government action to make Tenelytown a white area. Others look at integration of the public schools. These photo collages function well in a museum and a public art context. In a museum context, viewers think about parallels with their own communities. Both groups confront an unsentimental look at past and present American society. Although this project is specific to my locality, it is emblematic of changes to many areas in the city, region, and throughout the country.